These orphans need your help and require your assistance. Don't let any of these orphans go hungry this Ramadan. Please donate.
Don't let this be the end. Keep the hope alive.
Imam Hussein Charity is giving you the chance to provide food baskets for destitute and impoverished families all over Iraq and Afghanistan. So let's see what your donation gets, Ali. We have oil, tomato paste, we have tahini, lentils, sugar, tea, pasta, tuna cans, salt, dates, rice. She would also be receiving fruit, vegetable and meat, and that comes fresh on the day delivery and only costs £30. Brothers and sisters, you can pay via bank transfer, PayPal, or you can visit www.imamhusseincharity.com.
Your donation can make a world of difference in the life of a hungry child.
Dear viewers, brothers and sisters in Islam, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to another episode of this exclusive season of AHKAM SOS, live from the Holy Land of Bain al-Haramain. Now, as all you know, dear viewers, this show is dedicated to be discussing Islamic laws, do's and don'ts, and to be answering all of your questions, inshallah. Now you can send in those questions via WhatsApp or via YouTube comments, or you can just give us a call via the number presented to you at the bottom of the screen, and inshallah we'll be at your service and answering all of your questions. You can also scan the barcode presented to you alongside with the number, and inshallah our WhatsApp page will pop up through. You can send in your questions or also give us a call. We'll be at your service and answering all of your questions, regardless of any marja you follow. Now, before we get into that, I'm your host, Musa Ali. Now, I'd like to introduce our honorable guest, Sheikh Ali Maash. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. How are you doing tonight?
Alhamdulillah.
Inshallah, well.
Taqabbal a'mal.
Wa amalkum, inshallah, Allah.
These nights.
How is the atmosphere of Karbala on this beautiful night?
I can't explain it.
Wow.
It's great. You know, magnificent.
MashaAllah. May Allah bless you, Sheikhna. I believe you have a small dua to start off our show with.
Inshallah. أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على محمد وآله الطاهرين ولعنة الله على أعدائهم أجمعين. In one of the daily du'as of the month of Ramadan, we say to Allah Azza wa Jal, Allahumma اغسلني فيه من الذنوب. Oh Allah, cleanse us from the sins. We are fallible, we are basically exposed to the acts of sin, faults, flaws and so forth. So we have to always use all types of the means to cleanse our sins and purify ourselves from the wrong acts and the faults. اللهم اغسلني فيه من الذنوب وطهرني فيه من العيوب, and purify me from the faults. We have ayub, we have dhunub, faults and sins. We ask Allah Azza wa Jal in this holy month to cleanse us and purify us from all these sins and faults. Because if they accumulate, of course it's going to be a huge burden on our shoulder on the Day of Judgment.
Correct, yeah.
وامتحن قلبي فيه بتقوى القلوب, and test my heart with the piety of the heart. Taqwa al-qulub. You know, the taqwa is important, that I pass this test of taqwa.
Correct,
by
yeah.
implementing the wajib acts and forbidding and refraining from the acts of haram. Ya muqil atharat al-muddamin, or the one who forgives the faults and the shortfalls of the sinners, of those who commit sins. And Allah is, of course, khairul ghafirin,
Yeah.
tawabin, you know, all these features, attributes for Allah Azza wa Jal, in which has given us with this great mercy to offer us the opportunity to cleanse ourselves and purify ourselves, and to be able to leave this world, inshallah, purified, and join the mu'mineen and the hereafter in paradise with Muhammad wa Muhammad.
Ilahi Ameen. May Allah bless you, Shaykhna. And thank you very much. We have a few questions from the last night, and we do apologize to your viewers that we're not able to get their questions answered due to the lack of time. But inshallah, we'll ask your questions and you'll get your answers, inshallah. And I would like to also apologize in advance for that. Shaykhna, we have a question, and it is via YouTube, and it says, why is it mustahab to eat fish on Wednesday?
And overall, what ulama have said, that there's no evidence which makes the hukm of istihbab, for example, that eating fish on Wednesday is mustahab. There's no such thing. For now, they haven't found any hadith that encourages for the one to eat fish on Wednesday, because this now became some kind of a tradition, especially in Iraq, for the past, let's say, half a century or more, that they eat fish on Wednesday. It's just a tradition for now, until they find an evidence in future, made by other researchers, for example. But anyhow, it's not, seems to be hadith or something that encourages for us to eat fish on Wednesday.
Yeah. May Allah bless you, Shaykhna. And thank you very much. And we have another question, and it is via YouTube, and it says, is it permissible to eat food prepared by the Hindus according to Ayatollah Sistani?
And overall, the Samahat Sayyid and other ulama would consider the non-Ahlul Kitab impure and najis.
Yeah.
And this means they have to prevent from their prepared food if they prepare it with their bare hands and wet hands, especially salad, for example.
Correct, yeah.
When they cut the salad into pieces, of course, with this cross-contamination of the wet hands with the vegetables, that would cause the food to be najis and impure. Correct. Even if it's vegetarian, but you have the contamination of najasa as a result of touching those. So you have to avoid their food in this case.
Yeah. May Allah bless you, Shaykhna. And thank you very much. And we have another question, and it is via YouTube, and it says, via WhatsApp. And it says, what is the actual punishment of not wearing the hijab?
You see, Allah Azza wa Jal has created heaven, paradise, and na'udhu billah, hellfire.
No.
For those who basically follow the right path and follow Allah's guidelines,
yeah,
of course they will be happy in this world, and of course they will gain paradise in the hereafter.
Correct. Yeah.
And those who disobey and ignore Allah's guidelines and instructions and orders, of course, that would leads to the one to go to na'udhu billah, hellfire. We have a famous hadith which says that the qabr, the grave, imma حفرة من حفر النيران نعوذ بالله أو من بقاع الجنة في مضمون الحديث, that it's either a pit of hellfire or paradise.
Yeah.
So there's nothing else in between. Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a blue, white or black. You know, you can't really choose something, you know, on the side. As we have today in today's world, laws and legislations, if somebody smuggles drugs, he goes to prison.
Yeah, there's no
crimes committed.
Yeah.
There are punishments. If you do something, if you invent something, create something, they would give you Nobel Prize, for example. So we have similar issues in this world as well. So prize is given, you know, gifts are given, and also punishments.
Yeah.
So whoever disobeys Allah Azza wa Jal without repenting, insisting, being stubborn on his or her views which are against Allah Azza wa Jal, of course they will have to face the consequences. in the
Correct.
hereafter.
Yeah. May Allah bless you, Sheikhna. And thank you very much. And it says, we have another question, and it says, it is via WhatsApp. It says, Assalamu alaikum. Can we use light makeup to conceal imperfections? For example, the dark circles that develop around the eyes, or, you know, acne, or any other imperfections on the face?
Well, the general rule is that using any kind of zina or beautification is not permissible for the females. وَلَا يُبْدِينَ زِينَتَهُنْ. Do not reveal your beauty. That's the point, is that they have to make sure not to reveal the beauty of themselves. That's the forbidden. Now, I don't know how much this concealing of the spots, for example, would be if it's, you know, doesn't look, you know, any kind of beautification. That's a different story. But if it's actually revealing beauty and beautification, that's of course will be haram.
Correct.
So that's the red line, let's say.
Yeah.
This regard.
May Allah bless you, Sheikhna. Thank you very much. And before we get back into the questions, dear viewers, I would like to remind you all that you can send in your questions via WhatsApp or the YouTube comments, or you can give us a call via the number presented to you at the bottom of the screen, or you can scan the barcode presented to you alongside with the number, and inshallah we'll be at your service in answering all of your questions and phone calls, and regardless of any marja you follow. Sheikhna, we have another question, and it is via WhatsApp, and it says, this is Islamic query. When I were in Najaf, the water I drank was bitter. I wanted to know why I was unable to get rid of the spirit, or what. Why was the taste different? Sorry.
I think this is a medical issue. They should refer back to experts in the medical field. Maybe they have issues with their tongue that they couldn't really taste the right taste, especially those who had COVID.
Correct, yeah.
They lost, you know, smell and taste as a result of this virus. So maybe the brother needs to go, or the sister needs to go back to seek medical advice.
Yeah. May Allah bless you, Sheikh. Thank you very much. And we have another question, and it is via YouTube, and it says, can I drink from a glass that used to be for alcohol?
So we have to try to avoid anything that was associated with haram.
Correct.
A plate which they serve pork with it, for example.
No.
Just to try to avoid. I mean, if you wash it correctly, you know, tatir, it's tahir. Of course, you can use it, but one should avoid such cups and plates as a result being used previously with alcohol or pork meat or haram meat.
Yeah.
But as I've said, if you wash it properly, it's tahir. Najasa, you just have to wash it. You know, be it alcohol, blood, or even urine. If you wash it, it becomes tahir, you can use it again.
Correct. Yeah.
Shouldn't be a problem.
May Allah bless you, Sheikh. Thank you very much. And we have another question, and it is via WhatsApp. It says, salams and du'as. May Allah bless you, dear viewer, and accept your du'as and grant you a visit to Karbala and be under the dome of Abi Abdullah al-Hussein as soon as possible. We have a question, and it says, aqiq is recommended to wear. So how do we know the right one? I believe,
that's what I do. Sometimes I ask someone who is expert, and I show them the ring, and they would check it.
Correct, yeah.
So best thing to see somebody who knows experts in this field, you know, knowing the gemstones and the types of stones and so forth. That's the best way.
Yeah.
So you can actually spend the money on the right genuine ring, and not the faulty or the fake, for example, stone or ring.
May Allah bless you, Sheikh. Thank you very much. Oh, I believe that like a kind of a completion to the previous questions is, where can we get the right one?
You see, you have to, as I've said, you have to find the right individuals. Maybe friends know them, for example, who can sell you the genuine one. For example, we have someone in Mashhad. I forgot his name. We know him, for example, in Bazar al-Rida alayhi salam.
Correct, yeah.
In Holy City of Karbala, of course, there are a couple of ones in which we can trust and buy, for example. In Najaf, you have to find friends who know them, those who are experts in this field, and try to go and buy. So, I mean, the best thing is to have somebody with you who can come and choose for you the right ring. Sometimes you have to pay a hefty price for a ring which not really worth. So
Correct,
you have to
yeah.
find the right person to be with you. Or if you trust that shopkeeper, for example, they can give
Yeah.
you the right price for the right ring.
Inshallah. May Allah bless you, Shaykhna. And thank you very much. We have another question, and it is via WhatsApp. It says, Assalamu alaikum. Is it true that Prophet Noah alayhi salam and dug a grave and left a shield that said Ali ibn Abi Talib, because some say he had dug it and left it there for him? Is this true? And regards, Sister Batul. May Allah bless you, sister, and thank you very much.
I haven't read anything about this issue. But there are secrets with the prophets. For example, the grave of Imam Ali alayhi salam was prepared by, I think, Nuh alayhi salam. And he wrote that this is the grave in which Nuh prepared for Imam Ali alayhi salam, thousands of years ago. So it was a prepared grave for the Imam alayhi salam, I think by Nuh alayhi salam.
Yeah.
So there was something mentioned with this regard. But as a shield, I'm not sure.
May Allah bless you, Shaykhna. Thank you very much. And we have another question, and it is via WhatsApp, and it says, is hijab observed in front of husbands' nephews?
So husbands, nephews, are they going to be the sisters of, or the daughters of the brothers? Daughter of his brother, is that correct? You can say.
Yeah, correct, like the sons of their brother or
Because
sister.
you see, the sons and the daughters of your brother, they are halal to, they are like uncles.
Yeah.
Yani he's going to be uncle towards those individuals. So they are halal, of course. Let's say my brother's daughters, if they are halal to me. They would call me uncle, for example.
Yeah.
So there's no issue with it.
So, like, I believe the question is, so the wife, is she like allowed? Does she have to wear the hijab in front of the husband's
Of
nephews?
course, the wife is ajnabiyya, as they call,
Yeah.
towards the sons of the brothers. Of course.
Correct. Yeah.
Yes, the son of my brother, I'm his uncle, but that doesn't mean my wife also can.
Yeah.
No, she's ajnabiyya, foreign from being halal to.
Correct. Yeah.
Not at all.
May Allah bless you, Shaykhna, and thank you very much. And we have another question, and it is via WhatsApp, and it says, Assalamu alaikum. My aunt prayed to Mawla Ali alayhi salam on the 21st of Ramadan. Since she wasn't fasting the whole month, she fasted on the 21st, so she prayed for a sign if Mawla is radi or like satisfied with her. So she saw in the dream that the sky is blurry and she sees a moon and blood is dripping from it. There are faces in the moon as well, but unclear, and behind the moon are two moons, and suddenly there is an earthquake and she sees an Alam Pak and she goes there. What is this? What could this dream mean? Kindly enlighten a bit, if not whole dream interpretation.
To interpret a dream, it needs a bit of time, and we have to seek experts with this regard as well.
Correct, yeah.
So inshallah, we'll write back to this sister or brother with this regard, inshallah, in near future, inshallah.
Inshallah. May Allah bless you, and thank you very much. We have another question, and it is via YouTube, and it says, if I donate a small amount, will it go to charity? So I believe this question is dedicated to the IHC, Imam Hussein charity.
Inshallah, of course, if you don't donate, what is important is the niyyah. You made the intention to give this money to charity, inshallah. It's been recorded in your hasanat book that
Correct,
you've given
yeah.
this much amount, even a small amount, for the charity, inshallah. It's all being recorded because the niyyah is important.
Yeah.
إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ. The amal is with the niyyah. When you have intention, even if you couldn't do it, Allah, with His mercy, would write for you that intention, of good intention, as a result, that you couldn't achieve, for example. So the intention is the most important. So of course, if you donate, of course, you will get reward, inshallah.
Inshallah. May Allah bless Sheikh, and thank you very much. Dear viewers, before we get back into the questions, I believe we have the first phone call for the night, and we say, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and Shahr Ramadan Mubarak to you and your blessed family, and may Allah accept your deeds.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you so much for your efforts.
Assalam.
Sheikh, thank you so much. I
May
have a
Allah,
question.
may Allah bless you, brother, at your service.
There is a shop supermarket next to our house. I know the owner is not Muslim and he's Christian.
Yeah.
But the cashier is Muslim. I don't know the item I buy. Is it halal to buy from her? I don't know is it halal or no. Because I know that if you buy from Muslim, something is halal.
Correct,
The
yeah.
owner is not Muslim, so I'm so confused. What should I do?
At your service, may Allah bless you, brother.
Thank you so much.
May Allah bless you. Thank you very much. I believe you got the question.
Yes,
Sheikh.
أحسنتم.
May Allah bless you.
Yes, basically what we have in the fiqh that either you have the Muslim market, which is a proof and hujjah, so you can go walk by and just leave the place without even searching about
Yeah.
the haliyah of this meat or chicken without asking about the source, because you have a Muslim market which would be suffice for being halal without asking, without investigation. And you have the hand of the Muslim, Yadul Muslim, also hujjah. But what we have is the non-Muslim countries, number one. Number two, the owner is not Muslim, and he is the one who brings the goods to the shop. And the Muslim is just a salesman behind the cashier. So one should investigate and check with this regard. You know, you can't just leave it. At least it's shubha. Shubha means
Yeah.
mixed between wrong and right. So you have to make sure that whatever you get, especially if it's to do with the food, you have to make sure that the food that you buy is halal. Don't just rely on people and whatever they say. You know, as I've said, you either have the shopkeeper is a Muslim, and he says this is halal, or you have a Muslim market.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you have to do a bit of research with this regard.
May Allah bless you, Sheikhna. Thank you very much. And we have another question, and it is via WhatsApp, and it says, what is the best way of giving sadaqah to someone within your family in need, or someone you know outside your family? There are many charities and people donating money, but if you have someone in need in the family, isn't it more rewarding? Can you advise me, please? And thank you very much. May Allah bless you, dear viewer.
Yes, indeed. Al-aqrabun awla bil ma'ruf.
Yeah.
To do good and give charity, initially you have to give to the relatives, blood relatives, to the aqarib. That's a priority, of course. If you have, of course, you have to offer it to them, definitely. And then you can move on to others. So as the brother said, or the sister said, correct, accurately, that they have to give initially to their blood relations and relatives.
Okay. May Allah bless you, Sheikhna. And thank you very much. We have another question. It is via YouTube, and it says, Assalamu alaikum. If you get confused which rak'ah of namaz you are at, what to do? Or do you continue, or do you restart?
Depends on the position of the salah. If you're between 1 and 2 and you make this doubt, the salah is batil. If it's between 3 and 4, then you make an intention for the 4, and you end the salah and you pray salat al-ihtiyat, and so forth. So it depends on what position you are in the salah.
May Allah bless you, Sheikhna. Thank you very much. We have another question. It is via WhatsApp, and it says, is it permissible for me as an unmarried girl to propose to a married man?
You see, if this sister is virgin, or bakr as they say in Arabic, she needs to ask the permission of her father.
Yeah.
That's a must. So without the father's consent, they cannot do the aqd, according to some opinions. So they have to gain the rida, or the consent of the father, before they go ahead.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if she's divorcee, for example, and she's not virgin as a result of previous marriage, now she's divorced, she has the right to marry herself to the right person. Of course, if she discusses the issue with the parents, relatives, that would be credited.
Correct.
Just to make sure she doesn't fall into someone else who might harm her and cause difficulties as a result.
May Allah bless you, Sheikh, and thank you very much. Dear viewers, we'll take a very short break to leave you with the beautiful atmosphere of Karbala, and also to give you a chance to be under the dome of Abi Abdullah Hussein alayhi salam, and to say your du'as and say your prayers, and may Allah answer them as soon as possible. So we'll take a very short break. We'll be back very shortly. Send in your questions. Give us a call. We'll be at your service and answering all of your questions. May Allah bless you. Thank you very much. Do stay tuned.
have a question regarding keeping pictures of scholars at
permissible to
home.
plant trees by
Or Islam established based on peace and
Is it permissible
non-violence?
to collect donations for charity projects from...
Is it permitted to consume canned food imported from non-Muslim
Is there an
countries?
issue for men looking at non-Muslim women?
To have your questions answered live, WhatsApp us on +44 7415 092155.
Dear viewers, brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome once again to this live exclusive season of Ahkam SOS, live from the Holy Land of Bain al-Haramain. You can send in your questions via WhatsApp or the YouTube comments, or you can just give us a call via the number presented to you at the bottom of the screen, also via WhatsApp, or you can just scan the barcode presented to you alongside with the number, and inshallah we'll be at your service in answering all of your questions, and regardless of any marja you follow. Shaykhna, we have a question, and it is via WhatsApp, and it says, Assalamu alaikum, Shaykhna. Does ayat al-tathir, or about the wives of the Prophet, meant, or the Ahlul Bayt? Because in some ayah before this ayah is talking about the wives of the Prophet.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. When you look at the siyaq of the ayat, when you look at the before or the after of the verses, you'll find that it talks about the wives of the Prophet.
Yeah.
يأتين كنا, the nun al-niswa, as they say.
Correct, yeah.
Arabiya. And then suddenly it changes to masculine. ويطهركم تطهيرا. مو ويطهر كنا تطهيرا.
Yeah.
So this means that the ayah switched to Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, and they are Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad salamullah alayhim. And according to Sahih Muslim, that he mentions that Ahlul Bayt are Ali, Fatima, Hassan, and Hussein alayhim salam. So they know it. It's only those great individuals. In the ayat al-mubahala, nisa'ana wa nisa'akum, anfusana wa anfusakum, that the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam came only with his family, with his pure family, Fatima, Ali, Hassan, and Hussein alayhim salam.
Correct, yeah.
To do the mubahala. So it's only them, nobody else, because there's a consensus, an ijma' by the ulama of the Shia and the non-Shia, that the wives of the Prophets are not ma'soom and infallible. So if they're not infallible, they cannot be with Ahlul Bayt. وَيُطَهِّرَكُمْ تَطْهِيرًا is for the one who is infallible, ma'soom.
Correct, yeah.
So you cannot add the Prophet's wives with Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, because they are not infallible. Tathira is thorough purification, and that's only for the ma'soom, who is attached to the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam.
Yeah. May Allah bless you, Shaykhna. Thank you very much. Shaykhna, we have another question, and it is via YouTube, but it says, Assalamu alaikum. I have just started to learn how to pray. I use a few videos of how Shia pray, and they all seem to be a bit different. Where can I find how to pray, the essential requirements, and also is it okay to follow a video to learn how to pray during Salah? And thank you.
Yes, indeed. May Allah bless him, bless her with this regard of Salah.
Yeah.
Of course, one can find the Shia Salah on YouTube. I'm sure definitely there's different channels offer this kind of service. Recently, Imam Hussein TV has produced the way in which one can perform Salah.
Yeah.
And all the Salah, Subuh, Dhuhr, Asr, Maghrib, Isha, and even Salat al-Layl, all been performed and videoed and filmed. So inshallah you can go back to the YouTube. If not, you can watch Imam Hussein TV or check for the Salah teaching. Inshallah you get something, inshallah, useful from your research, inshallah.
Inshallah. May Allah bless you, Shaykhna. Thank you very much. And Shaykhna, we have another question, and it says, is it correct if chickens are slaughtered by an electric knife and the reciting of the name of Allah is performed by a cassette tape player?
No, it's not correct. I mean, what is important and obligatory is for the one to recite as a human being, present there and says Bismillah before slaughtering. You cannot play a tape or a tune or something which says Bismillah and you keep quiet. The one who is performing the dhabiha, he must say Bismillah. You can't rely on a tape, for example, or recorded audio, for example. You have to do it by yourself. So conditions mentioned in the book Kitab al-Fiqh about how to basically slaughter halal animal in this way. That they have to say Bismillah. They have an utter not to use a tape, for example.
Correct. May Allah bless you, Sheikh, and thank you very much. And we have another question, and it is via YouTube, and it says, Assalamu alaikum. My question is that, can I marry someone who is Sunni but won't ask me to convert?
With this condition, yes, you can do so, but we would always recommend, because the best option is to marry from the same aqidah and belief. Why? Because you will have kids in the near future, and they're going to be adolescents and baligh in a couple of years. Who are they going to follow?
Yeah.
The Sunni or the Shi'i? That's the problem. And I've seen this back in London, that a brother married a Sunni from a Sunni family, and he got in trouble because she wants to take him. The Sunni wife wants to take him to her mosque, to her local mosque, and pray Tarawih, for example. That's the issue. So best option is to marry from same aqidah and belief. Yes, if you can turn the other side into and convert towards the Shia of Ahlul Bayt, that would be, of course, credit and great reward and guidance towards the right path. Kitab Allah wa itrat Ahlul Bayt, not Kitab Allah and Sahaba. No, the Prophet said in a famous hadith by Shia and Sunnah narrated in Sahih al-Muslimin that I leave two weighty or necessary things: the Book of Allah and my progeny, my family, not my companions. You have to be very careful. So we try to guide the others towards the right path, and that's the right and path of Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Thank you very much, Sheikh. May Allah bless you, inshallah. And we have another question. It is via YouTube, and it says, is it permissible to pray for the hajat of non-Shia Muslims?
You see, in overall, one can ask the khair and blessing for everyone in overall. One can, you can wish them a great year, for example. But it's good that we try to ask Allah, and this is one of the interesting points that one of the ulama says, that he would ask in Laylatul Qadr, one of his main haja is to guide the non-Muslims towards the right path. Imagine, one of the ulama would ask on such a crucial night, important night, not for his hajat, he would ask mainly that, oh Allah, guide those who are not on the right path.
Correct.
Those non-Muslims, for example. That would be a great dua. This is the best dua, that you can ask Allah to guide them. That you might find this European or even from India, from China, praying with you, next to you, for example, Salat al-Subh, or coming to the ziyarat of Imam Hussein alayhi salam in Karbala. That would be great reward. That if one can convert somebody towards the right path. So I think this is the best dua for them to be guided towards the right path, inshallah.
Inshallah. May Allah bless you, Sheikh, and thank you very much. And we have another question. Is via YouTube, and it says, Assalamu alaikum. Why did Mawla Ali not pick up his sword and fight against Abu Bakr when he was becoming a Khalifa, as Imam Ali alayhi salam fought and won many battles when it came to seeking rights?
This is fully answered. If one can refer back to the pre-events of Saqifa and before the Prophet's departure from this world, and after the Saqifa and the attack on the door, that the Imam was basically advised by the Prophet not to do anything, not to confront those individuals, because that would cause an internal war between the Muslims, between the companions, and that would of course shed a lot of blood, and of course Islam would be dismantled, and anyhow would be like other religions, la samahullah. So the Imam had to observe patience and sabr until he took the power.
Correct.
And of course he fought الناكثين والقاسطين والمارقين. He fought أصحاب الجمل in the camel war, he fought أصحاب صفين, and he fought the Khawarij in Nahrawan. So he did actually, as the brother mentioned, or sister mentioned, that he didn't carry the sword. In that crucial time he had to be patient and observe patience. But after 25 years, no, he raised the sword. When he took the power and he had assistants and helpers and soldiers, in that time he didn't have anybody except a few, 4 to 7 maybe. Nobody helped him. They ignored him as a result. So he had to sit down and basically wait for the right time to basically observe the correct Islam and the true Islam as the Prophet ﷺ has brought, and not the Islam in which was brought by the Khulafa, in which within themselves had disputes and arguments. And of course that brought the kingdom of Bani Umayyah as a result, and later on Bani Abbas as well.
Yeah. May Allah bless Sheikh, and thank you very much. To the dear viewer that sent in the question regarding the prayer and how to pray the correct way, I just got a message from the director saying that if he could just send us a message via the number presented to you at the bottom of the screen via WhatsApp, and inshallah the team of AHKAM SOS will forward you the link of our YouTube video on our channel, inshallah, and it'll teach you thoroughly how to pray every salah and every prayer of the day, and inshallah may Allah bless you and accept all your prayers. Sheikh, now we have another question. It is via WhatsApp, and it says, when we perform namaz, Imam Mahdi Ajallah Farjuh Sharif, you have to repeat إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين 100 times each rak'ah. If you by mistake read the complete surah, is it okay to restart the surah and read the 100 times?
These are one of the amals of Masjid Jamkaran in Qom. If one goes there, he would do such amal. In anyhow, one can repeat, go back and repeat the ayat. There's no issue with it.
Correct.
You know, someone mentioned that you can actually, if it's not a waswasa, obsessiveness, you can repeat the ayat again. That should be fine.
Yeah. May Allah bless you, Sheikh, and thank you very much. And we have another question. It says, what is the ruling if the chicken is slaughtered while it is hung upside down? That is, it's not lying flat, sorry. Would it be halal if other criteria of the slaughtering are met?
Yes, indeed, if you have the one who is slaughtering the chicken, he's a Muslim, saying Bismillah, and the body of the chicken towards the Qibla, the abdomen, you know, the chest, everything towards the Qibla, it should be fine, even if it's upside down, it should be fine.
Yeah.
There's no issue with it.
Inshallah, may Allah bless Sheikh, thank you very much. And we have another question, and it says, is it permissible for a woman to slaughter an animal?
You see, it is permissible, but usually ladies are soft-hearted with lots of emotions.
Correct. Yeah.
Some jobs are not suitable for ladies, and that would, in somehow, one should put the things to the right place. You know, we don't want to, you know, force a child to do labor or work, for example, in this age, for example. So we have to place things in the right place and location. So we give the ladies and the sisters and our great mothers, and you know, the right place for them to serve the community. So wouldn't give them hard jobs like this one, for example, that bring some kind of, you know, harshness to the one.
Correct, yeah.
So they are soft-hearted. Exactly.
May Allah bless Sheikh, and thank you very much. We have another question. It is via WhatsApp, and it says, Assalamu alaikum. Are women allowed to wear perfume or oud outside without the intention of attracting men?
According to some opinions, yes, she can do so without attracting the opposite gender. She can do so, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
May Allah bless Sheikh, and thank you very much. And we have another question. It is via WhatsApp, and it says, is it right in this Sahih that Al-Mirza al-Nur al-Tabrasi in his book Dar al-Salam, chapter 2, page 197 through page 200, wrote that Imam Zain al-Abidin alayhi salam does this as someone reminded him of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. He stood up in full length and banged his forehead against the wall of the house, whereupon his nose and head were broken and were wounded, so that his blood came down to his chest, and he fainted from the great grief and weeping.
Of course, we have to see this type of hadith and study this hadith. And anyhow, ulama would use different means and methods to define what is known to be Husseini rituals or Sha'ar Husseiniya, and how much we can actually go up to, for example, bloodlettings. In overall, we have jaza'. In narrations mentions that all the jaza', all the severe grievance is not permissible except on Al-Hussein.
Correct, yeah.
So we have these qara'an that we can use for such acts, which has, you know, performed in the nights and days of Ashura, on other occasions as well. So we use these sources and evidence. If this is a hadith in which we can rely on, of course, that would be a credit and an extra support, like the story or the hadith mentioned about that Lady Zainab alayhi salam, she hit her head on the bar of the mahmil, the carrier of the camel, in which the blood came from her qina', from under her hijab. So that's one of the, for example, evidence they use in some cases. So we have to see and study all these narrations so we can use them for this purpose.
Yeah. May Allah bless Sheikh, and thank you very much. And we have another question. It is via WhatsApp, and it says, Assalamu alaikum. Did Safiya bint Huway convert to Islam after marrying the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wa alihi?
Yeah, Safiya bint Huyay, her husband was Jewish, and she became Muslim, and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam married her. There's this interesting story about Safiya, that when she got married to the Prophet, there were two wives of the Prophet. They became jealous, and they start to call her Ya bint al-Yahudiyya, or the daughter of the Jewish, because her father was Jewish, and a prominent Jewish, one of the possibly commander or something, in which I think he was killed as a result of the battle between the Jews and the Muslims in Medina, outside Medina. Yeah. So the Prophet went and she went and complained to the Prophet ﷺ that they call me, the daughter of the Jewish, Ya bint al-Yahudiyya. Yeah. So the Prophet told her to tell them that that I am from the descendant of the Musa or Harun, Nabiullah, and I am the wife of the Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So she was from the descendants of, I think, Harun or Musa, one of the prophets of Allah Azza wa Jal. That they couldn't actually say this anymore because she's from a prominent, the bloodline. Bloodline, exactly. Yeah. And she is, of course, the Prophet's sallallahu alaihi wasallam wife as well. Correct.
May Allah bless you, Sheikh. Thank you very much. And we have another question. It is via WhatsApp. It says, Assalamu alaikum. Do you recommend the book of Dr. Muhammad Tijani, Then I Was Guided?
Yes, indeed. For those who wish to know about more about the madahib or the opinions of the Ahlul Sunnah, and then his journey about converting to Shia. I mean, I've read most of his books, which are very interesting. I've read in English, by the way. So they're very useful for the one who is looking forward to learn the dialogue between the Sunni and the Shia and how to bring the evidence as a result. He is very expert in this field. I mean, he was one of the mashayikh of Ahl Sunnah, I think back in Tunisia. And then he became, of course, from Shia Ahl Bayt, and he came to Iraq, and of course, his journey, he speaks about his journey in the first book, Then I Was Guided, in detail. And he met ulama in Najaf and so forth. Interesting book to read.
May Allah bless Sheikh. Thank you very much. And we have another question is via WhatsApp, and it says, how rewarding is it, and does it benefit your loved ones, like your parents who passed away, to perform namazi maghfirat for them?
You see, any deed which is mentioned, you can perform 2 rak'ah salah. You send it as a gift to their soul. You give food, water, niyaz, whatever you can, because they are in need of, even a small morsel, even half dates, as the Prophet mentioned, that they would benefit from these thawabat and rewards. One can do so as much as we can. So our generation and the next generation and offspring would remember us as well when we pass away. They would also send niyaz and rewards and namaz and everything after we pass away, inshallah, after a long time.
Inshallah, may Allah bless Sheikh and prolong your life and prolong the lives of our dear viewers. Sheikh, and we have another question, and it says, can I do wudu while wearing socks?
Well, you have to take it off and then wipe on your both feet. I mean, you can't wipe on the socks. No. As I've said before, in very exceptional circumstances, whether, let's say, old, elderly, it's freezing weather, they fear of the frostbite, then there's an exception for them. But otherwise, you have to take off and wipe on it.
Correct.
Yeah.
May Allah bless Sheikh, thank you very much. And we have the last question for the night, and it says, what is the best way to start to learn from the very beginning regarding your deen to have the full understanding of your deen?
We have a very short pamphlet or a small book known as Islamic Beliefs, Al-Aqaid Al-Imamiyya. Interesting book. Many have brought with this regard, many ulama. You can find this book online, you can download it. Islamic Beliefs about the Shia of Ahl-Bayt. So it starts from Tawheed, that how the Shia of Ahl-Bayt believe in Tawheed Allah Azza wa Jal, that nothing is like him. He's not a being, created. He's actually a creator. And so forth, to the Imamah, to the Nubuwwah, all the way to the Ma'ad. Interesting book to read. Aqaid al-Imamiyya. If you find that book, Arabic, that's the name of it. English, Islamic Beliefs, that would be, I think, a good book and source for the one to start learning about the Aqidah of Ahl Bayt alayhim as-salam in terms of the Usul al-Din.
Yeah. May Allah bless Sheikh, and thank you very much. Dear viewers, unfortunately, we have come to the end of tonight's episode, but inshallah you can send in your questions. You can send them in from now, you can send them in later, or you can just wait for the upcoming show, which is at 12 a.m. London time, and we are live every single night up until the end of Muharram. Inshallah, we'll be at your service and answering all of your questions, regardless of any marja you follow. You can send in those questions via WhatsApp or the YouTube comments, or you can just give us a call via the number presented to you at the bottom of the screen, or you can also scan the barcode present to you alongside with the number, and inshallah we'll be at your service and answering all of your questions. But for the time being, we leave you with the beautiful atmosphere of Karbala, and to also give you the chance to be under the dome of Abi Abdullah al-Hussein alayhi salam, hence the name of Imam Hussein TV, your gateway to Karbala. And we say Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.